Alexis is not disturbed. Welcome, one and all, to the April 1st edition of the Fireside Friday show here on Fireside, the Signals from Mars Fireside Friday pre-show. And as usual, we are going to talk about some new releases, some music news, and then we'll bring some people up on stage as usual. I want to say hello to Brad and Jeremy, who are there waiting in the wing. Also want to say hello to Woody, who's here week after week as well. And an interesting day for new releases. We really didn't do new releases last week because we talked about the favorite albums of 1982, which we did later on the Signals from Mars live show. But we did the precursor here on the pre-show, albums 53 up until album 16, and that was a lot of fun, both the pre-show and the actual Signals from Mars live show afterwards. And we also, as we got off the air, or as I wrapped up for the day, I read the news about Taylor Hawkins passing away, and it was, wow. It was what I said. I couldn't believe it. Such a sad thing, especially for his family more than anything else. It's interesting because there is an interview that I did with Charlie Benante where we were talking about Queens of the Stone Age's Songs for the Deaf. And we were talking about how Dave Grohl has a certain way to his playing, a certain feel for his playing. And we talked about how we preferred his playing to Taylor's playing. And that's no disrespect on Taylor, but there's just something about Dave's playing. Taylor was a great drummer, great singer as well, great musician all around. And by all accounts, seems like everyone really loved him. So I never met him personally, never got to interview him. Way above my pay grade there, but it's interesting because in the Foo Fighters documentary Back and Forth, he even talks to Dave about his drums not sounding as good as those first two Foo Fighters albums. And he says, oh, no, we're a guitar band. We're not a drum band. So that's why. It's like, oh, okay, now I get it. So I got it. So had I have seen that documentary before speaking to Charlie, I would have never brought that up. I could get into the whole Charlie side with that, but some of you guys already know from Patreon, but anyway. So there's that. I don't know. Do the Foo Fighters continue? Do they just stop altogether? We'll see where that goes. Tough loss for them. Also, the other thing is, man, the tributes are coming in. They're playing My Hero. They're playing Everlong. Songs he didn't originally play on. I get it. He's been in the band so long that, you know, people assimilate him being in the band. But those are off of the first two albums, and he didn't play on those first two albums. So, whatever. Just kind of cool that people are thinking of him. And so many people came out. You know, I was trying to think, with Eddie Van Halen passing away, as huge of an imprint that Eddie made, I don't know that there was as much of an outcry as there was for Taylor. It could be that Taylor was something a lot more shocking people obviously didn't expect it. I didn't expect it. Whereas we knew that Eddie was sick. The other thing too is the Foo Fighters are probably the biggest rock band in the world right now. So that's also huge. I mean, there are very few bands that can sell the amount of tickets that they can and put on the 3-hour shows that they do a night. So, just think of that. But yeah, it sucks. Let's see if they can bounce back from it. And it's a shame because on the same day they released the soundtrack to their Studio 666 album, which is what I wrote about, and which was Dream Widow is the name of it. It's got some cool stuff on it. I alluded to the fact that it was, was this Probot Part 2 type of deal. I personally don't think it's as strong as the Probot album, but different times, different albums hit you different ways than some other thing. Color and the Shape and Wasting Light were two of the greatest rock albums ever released, in my opinion. Color and the Shape is one of the greatest albums from the 90s, and Wasting Light came out, I think at this point, maybe 15 years ago. It's such a good album. And I listened to a lot of Foo Fighters last weekend, and I focused a lot on those albums and a few tracks in between. But, man, it sucks. Anytime you lose someone, it sucks. And again, speculation is he had, I don't know how many different substances in him. He's had substance abuse issues in the past. And, he's leaving 3 daughters behind. So at age 50, we all have to live life the way that we think is best. I remember speaking to Blitz from Overkill when Whitney Houston died and saying, yeah, what did you think about that? Thinking that, Whitney's from New Jersey, Blitz is from New Jersey. Thinking that maybe he was going to say, oh, well, I didn't know what he was going to say. I didn't think he was going to put like a positive spin on it. And he did, in the sense that he said, look, she chose to live her life that way. She chose to go out that way. So he said, I have to respect that. Ultimately, people have to live their lives the way that they think is best. And, if you can pass judgment, you can do whatever. You do you, let them do them. And at the end of the day, again, I'm sorry for his kids. I'm sorry for his bandmates. Fans will get over this. When people say, oh, I'm sorry for the band's fans. Yeah, fans of the band, okay, sure. They still have his legacy. But they also still have a million other bands they can listen to. So it's not like 3 daughters and a wife that just lost their husband, their best friend. It's kind of different. So, do I feel sorry for the fans? Yeah, no, not really. I don't know. Anyway, this week I featured Red Hot Chili Peppers' first studio album in 6 years. First one with John Frusciante in 16 years. It's their best album since Frusciante has been in the band. The problem is we've heard all of this stuff before, I really love everything from Blood Sugar Sex Magic up until what's the last album with Frusciante? I forget if it's By the Way or Californication. Whichever one of those two was the last one. Or no, actually Stadium Arcadium was after that. Stadium Arcadium, to me, is just bloated. It's got like 3 good songs on it off of a double album that I've tried listening to over and over again because I owned it. And it's like, oh, it's just not that good. But to me, this new album, Unlimited Love, we've heard it all, and we've heard it a few times throughout the album as well. they're mostly all mid-tempo to slow-tempo songs. It's like, give me something else to break this up. But no, they haven't. The album isn't bad, but it's probably the weakest album with Frusciante in the lineup. You could definitely tell his stamp is on it because of the solos, because of the layered guitar playing, because of his voice, his harmonies and whatnot. But I don't know. I was expecting more. Anyway, moving on here. New albums released by Meshuggah, The Helicopters, which I got about halfway through. North Lane, which I need to check out. There's some cool stuff on there, which I've heard before it came out. Necrogoblicon, Satan, Lords of Trident, which I may end up getting on the podcast. We'll see. Ripperide, which I saw. I actually got into a conversation with their guitarist, Matt Strong, a few weeks back. Snowy from Radioactive Metal had posted something, and I responded to him. And then me and Matt were going back and forth, and then we started talking like behind the scenes. And I've been following him since, and I saw that he was going to be releasing this album, and I listed it today on Bandcamp. It's pretty cool, actually. It's a throwback to 80s hard rock. That's what he was looking to put out, and that's exactly what they did. So check that out. New albums by The Spirit, Pattern Seeking Animals, Trick or Treat, Bleg, Ancient Settlers, Fertilance, Evil Invaders, which I want to check out, Misfire, Iclatus, Unoya, I don't know. Carpenter Brut. Okay. Carpenter Brut. I don't know. Nocturnal Affair and Wolf. EPs by Aldo Nova, Centrix, Kubla Khan, Texas, and Chrome Waves. So a lot of different things that I saw that I didn't get a chance to check out. Ripperide after I sent it to him. So that's cool. Let's see. Blabbermouth headlines. Ozzy Moore album guest revealed. Maynard Keenan's demonstration. Machine Gun Kelly butchers aerials. Yes, the guy that supposedly saved rock. Tom Kiefer opens up about Jeff LaBar's death. Steve Morris on temporary hiatus from Deep Purple. His wife has cancer. And Taylor Hawkins' body flown back to the U.S. All right, Saliva is back with the single Revelation Man. But it's not with Josie Scott, who has said that he is going to be rejoining the band for one festival date. It's with Bobby Amaru. So there you go. John 5 weighs in on Will Smith's slap. It was uncalled for and it was unnecessary. Michael Wilton on possibility of Jeff Tate and Scott Rockenfeld returning to Queensrÿche. What will be, will be. Que sera, sera. Leonard Skinner then, 38, not so special. Members record campaign song for Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Oh, wow. I noticed that nobody voted for 38 Not So Special on the 1982 albums. Man, you guys are just woke. You won't vote for them. Didn't want to vote for such a great album. Taylor Hawkins honored at Drum Circle in his hometown video. I almost said Drug Circle. Drum Circle in his hometown video and photos. Steve Vai releases music video for Teeth of the Hydra. Snap, snap. Scorpions releases Rock Believer performance video from Peppermint Park Studios. Not Peppermint Patty, but Peppermint Park. Joe Satriani says Simon McBride's addition to Deep Purple is a great call. Essentially, Joe Satriani is saying, woof, they didn't call me back. I'm about to release a new album. Aerosmith's Joe Perry on his 2016 health scare. It woke me up to the fact that I'm not bulletproof. Oh wow, that's something you just realized, Joe Perry? Thanks for not being the only one besides the Smith family living in their own fucking world. David Bowie figure unveiled at Madame Tussauds, London town. Mick Jagger releases music video for Strange Game. His theme song for espionage series Slow Horses. I believe he's producing that. Queen's Roger Taylor dedicates OBE honor to Taylor Hawkins. All right, so let's see. Ozzy Osbourne album to feature Pearl Jam's Mark McCready and Queens of the Stone Age's Josh Homme. Yeah, so let's hope that we get like a super sludgy, like stoner song out of that. Out of Homme being part of the new Ozzy album. Let's see, who else do we have on here? I guess Robert Trujillo is playing on it. Duff McKagan. Andrew Watt, of course, who's producing it as well. Chad Smith of the Red Hot Chili Peppers. They tried to get Jimmy Page. But Page, I don't think Page plays anymore too much, unfortunately. Okay. Mark McCready of Pearl Jam, Josh Homme, Zach Wilde, and he has, of course, he's mentioned in the past that Eric Clapton and this other guy named Jeff Beck is soloing on it. Lamb of God releases music video for a cover of Megadeth's Wake Up Dead featuring Dave Mustaine. Yeah, they've been posting videos to TikTok saying, do you know what song this is? And instantly, it was the two guitars. And I said, yeah, that's Wake Up Dead by Megadeth. My kids are like, how do you know? I'm like, because I've heard Wake Up Dead like a million times to know those riffs. So, Fozzy, first show with the new drummer Grant Brooks. Icelander taps Korn, POD, Bad Brains members for a new album, It's Not Easy Being Human. Not easy being green. Tool's Maynard Keenan demonstrates technique that could have saved Chris Rock's life. Oh, wow. Who played guitar on Soulfly's upcoming album? We're keeping that a secret right now, says Max Cavalera. Because it couldn't be him. Watch Machine Gun Kelly butcher System of a Down's aerials on the Howard Stern Show. I prefer not to. Rob Halford would love to see Judas Priest inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame while he is still alive. Foo Fighters canceled Grammy Awards performance following Taylor Hawkins' death. It's expected. Red Hot Chili Peppers honored with Star on Hollywood Walk of Fame. Now, for those that don't know, you need to pay $10,000 and get a certain amount of signatures to get on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. So, I mean, you got the money to throw away and you got enough people that'll sign for you, you can get it. So, not all that special. Cinderella's. Tom Kiefer opens up about Jeff LaBar's death. I love him, and I know in my heart he loved me. Not enough to get back together again. Let's keep that in mind. Dave Mustaine confirms Steve DiGiorgio, Worst Kept Secrets, played bass on the new Megadeth album. Pantera teams up with Knucklebones for vulgar display of lager. Jesus, tongue-tied. Asking Alexandria's Ben Bruce wants to start food truck business called Sex, Drugs, and Sausage Rolls. It's a bloody sausage, mate. Yes. Sorry, Jeremy. Stupid British accent of the evening. Number one for me. Black Crow sued by former drummer Steve Gorman over unpaid royalties. And Wilson denies riff with Sister Nancy, says she would like to make another Heart album. So does that mean that she's okayed Nancy going out as Nancy Wilson's Heart? Maybe she doesn't even know yet. Ex-Manowar guitarist Rasta Boss on Battle Tim's re-recording it. It's never going to be as good as the original, especially because he didn't play on it. Head PE to team up with Crazy Town, Edema, and Flaw for a new Metal Madness tour in July. Watch Skid Row play second show with new guitarist Eric Gronwall. Judas Priest, Glenn Tipton explains decision to sell 50% interest in his song catalog to Reach Music. He wants the money. I mean, is there anything more to that story? New Bullet Boys lineup announces spring, summer 2022 U.S. tour dates. Didi Verny says upcoming Overkill album will be a little bit more doomy, so I hear Blackish, I guess. Richie Faulkner says drums for next Judas Priest album have already been recorded. The Struts sign a new record deal. Exodus drummer doctors performed a surgery within a surgery to remove a second type of cancer from his abdominal wall. Ex-Megadeth bassist David Ellison on Nick Menza's death. He was probably gone before he hit the floor. Government Mule frontman Warren Haynes shoulder blade fracture forces postponement of spring 2022 tour. I mean, unless he's just going to sing, but kind of known for his guitar playing. Billy Idol cancels show in Georgia and Florida due to continued sinusitis infection. All that remains, drummer Jason Costa leaves U.S. tour, temporary replacement announced. Andreas Kisser, I feel very proud that Sepultura is still relevant. Saliva to reunite with original singer Josie Scott for one-off performance at Blue Ridge Rock Festival, which I mentioned before. Twisted Sisters, JJ French. It's time for comedians to stop making fun of people's appearance, to which every comedian that's remotely related to anything rock-based, whether it's Jim Florentine to Craig Gass to, I'm trying to think, Don Jameson, everyone made a joke about this post. So good way to bring things to people's attention, because we didn't know JJ French had been wearing a wig for all those years. So we get it, JJ. It's a sensitive spot. I get it, but the court jester has been around for centuries, not going away anytime soon. So just be lucky that you're in that position, that they know who you are so that they can make fun of you. How about that? Watch Glenn Tipton rejoin Judas Priest on stage in Philadelphia. John 5 didn't talk to anybody for 2 days after Taylor Hawkins' death. Guess his wife wasn't around. Paul McCartney pays tribute to Taylor Hawkins. His personality was big and shiny. Scorpions to perform at Madison Square Garden for Bangladesh's 50th anniversary of independence. Nothing More unveils new music video for Turn It Up Like Stand in the Fire. Sex Pistols original recordings to arrive in May. The original recordings. Dan Lilker says Decibel Magazine Metal and Beer Fest. Philly could turn out to be Nuclear Blast's last U.S. show. Watch Puddle of Mud cover Black Sabbath's War Pigs at Oklahoma's Honeymoon Rock Fest. I'd kind of prefer not to. I don't know which. I don't know which would probably, without hearing either one, which you would pay to get a confession out of people. Either Puddle of Mud covering War Pigs or Machine Gun Kelly covering Aerials. And to wrap up the news portion here, Black Sabbath bassist Geezer Butler shares preview of his multi-part NFT graphic novel. So that is that. We have Brad already up on stage. Brad, how are you?
Doing all right, man. How you doing?
Doing all right myself. I heard the cackle while I was mentioning the whole Judas Priest thing.
Yeah, yeah, you're kind of sneaky lighting me up when I wasn't aware of that.
Well, it said that you had requested to come up on stage, so I said okay, well I'll oblige,
Oh, okay. Well,
and
thank you.
and
I
and,
appreciate.
and we got that nice little cackle out of you there. Are you saying that you don't expect Judas Priest to go into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame during Rob Halford's lifetime?
No, I was expecting for him to say that he'd prefer that they do it after he was dead.
Oh, okay.
That makes no sense. I mean, why would you say, guy, it'd be nice it'd be nice if somebody gave me a new car while I was alive. No, I'd rather have it when I'm dead.
Right.
It's like, I don't care what happens when I'm dead, actually, well, I mean, I would hope that your life goes on in a very well manner, but I mean, as far as, what happens is my legacy, whatever you guys want to do, go ahead and do it, man. I'd prefer people to do nice things and say nice things to me while I'm alive. Kind of weird that way.
Yes. Well, to quote, since Chris Rock has been in the news lately, if anyone hasn't heard, to quote him in one of his stand-up albums, he says, that it annoys him when people say, "I take care of my kids." He goes, "Well, you're supposed to take care of your kids. You're not supposed to expect someone to give you a cookie for taking care of your kids." So it's kind of that same deal. Yeah, no shit. You want people, you want to receive these accolades while you're alive, Rob Halford. And to quote someone else, Mark Henry, a former professional wrestler, he always says, "Give people their flowers while they're alive. Amen. When they're dead, it does no good to say all these things because they're not there to appreciate it." So
that's true, man. That's why.
To Brad's point, if anyone wants to buy him a car, do it now, because once he's gone.
Well, also that's why I've requested Freebird be played at my.
It won't matter how nice the car is,
because I won't have to listen. And hopefully those who are there that know me will laugh. That's my intent anyway.
There you go.
Is it the full extended version?
Actually, what I'm hoping for is the Puddle of Mud version, or the Machine Gun. Wait, no, let's go Machine Gun Kelly, since I know absolutely nothing about the guy. I feel he makes me feel old because I see him all over the place, and I'm like, who the hell is this guy? Am I supposed to know this guy? I don't know. Is he relevant? I mean, he's playing pretty big venues. Like, people are going to see this guy.
I think he's relevant because he says all the right things to piss enough people off to garner, the trolls, to give him some type of, audience, I guess. Because he's done nothing but crap on people for like the last 2 years. I guess, like at a festival, he went up to guys from Slipknot and he was expecting to go out on stage with them. And they were like, yeah, we don't do that kind of stuff. And he got pissed off at them. So he started like talking shit about them. And, you're talking about one of the biggest acts in the world right now, so obviously you're going to start playing shows and people are going to start crapping on you, because of that, because you pissed off a large community. And
well, from the pictures I've seen of him, I think he'd fit right in with Slipknot on stage. He doesn't even need a mask.
Well, he's come out and said that that he's been the savior of rock, that thanks to him there's relevance in rock again. And I'm thinking, I can think of like maybe 5 bands that sell more tickets than you do, So to say that, to say that you're more relevant than Metallica, than Slipknot, than Foo Fighters, than all of these bands is beyond ridiculous. So
Maybe he should get the slot at the Grammys then.
there you go. Jeremy, how are you tonight?
Yeah, good, thanks. Really good. Yeah, I've had a really nice day here in the UK. It's been bright and breezy today, so it's been nice.
We've had nothing but pouring rain and sleet, and anytime the sun has come out for a few minutes, it's been followed up by some thunder and lightning. So fun.
I actually went past Roger Moore's old house today on the Wirral.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. I know it's not music related, but I just thought I'd mention it.
It's still cool. Roger Moore is still, relevant to, I guess, people our age, So,
yeah.
Well, I was going to say second James Bond, but no, I guess theoretically he's what? The third or fourth James Bond?
Yeah, I think he was, wasn't he? Well, there was Connery, and there was Lazenby.
So that makes
wasn't David Niven Bond?
David Niven, correct. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So it was him as well. He did one, didn't he, I think? Yeah.
So, still cool.
Yeah.
So we
enjoyed those movies, and let's face it, man, there's some pretty decent rock songs in some of those Roger Moore movies. So I think it's musically related.
Well, I'm glad that you brought that up, the whole James Bond thing, because it's always something that I think of with franchises where they change a main player. And sure, there's some belly aching at times. Obviously, when Timothy Dalton took over, people had a hard time with it. But Pierce Brosnan came in, and it seemed like it righted the ship. And with Daniel Craig, obviously, it seemed like people were all for that. Why is it that in music, though, there's an issue with that? When bands change, as recently as we were talking about the Skid Row singer swap a few weeks ago. And do we honestly need to split the crowd? At the end of the day, it's funny seeing people on social media just get all worked up. No, it's no good without Sebastian. And it's like, seriously, you're going to blow a gasket because someone isn't in a band anymore? Something that honestly doesn't affect your life directly? I mean, if you work for the band, and maybe because Sebastian got you into the band and now, he's gone, so they're firing you as well. Okay, I get that. But fans years later being all uppity about somebody not being in the band, I honestly do not get that at all. If you don't like the band's music, move along. There's a million other bands to listen to. Why do you absolutely need to have that, that formation there that honestly, it's one of these things where, the kids want mom and dad to get back together again. And mom and dad think that it's a cool idea, but after a day of making each other miserable, they realize, well, there's a reason why we split up. So that's kind of, I don't get why people will look at bands and just be hell-bent on just this formation is good, the other one sucks. Oh, I hate this guy. Instead of saying, hey, let me check this out. I might like it. I might not like it. So.
And in some cases, it's forced on them because the band member might have died. I mean, if you think about AC/DC, I mean, we have this argument all the time. There's lots of people who say, "Oh, I only listen to Bon Scott era. I only like that era because of Bon Scott's voice." And there's others who say, "No, Brian Johnson." And then you speak to a Bon Scott fan, and you say, "Well, don't you like Back in Black?" Yeah, of course I do. It's a great album, but no, I love Bon Scott and I don't like Brian Johnson.
That makes no sense. Hey. Can you have a preference of liking, Bon over Brian Johnson's era? Sure, why not? That makes sense. But to just discard what somebody else did. Let's look at Sabbath. Sabbath with with Dio and Ozzy.
Mm.
You know, where people drew lines there. No, I can't like the Dio stuff, no matter what. And I saw somebody recently, I forget who posted it, and it said something to the extent of the most important albums in metal. And it had Paranoid by Black Sabbath, it had Lizard of Oz, and it had a third, like, Ozzy-related album. It was another Sabbath album. It may have been Volume 4 or something like that. And I was thinking, and somebody chimed in and said, you know what, Heaven and Hell is equally as important as, as Volume 4 for a lot of people, because that's really what took Sabbath to a different place for a lot of people. And also because a lot of people didn't know, regardless whether Dio was in Rainbow or not, people didn't know of him. A lot of people didn't know of him until he joined Sabbath. Sabbath was a much bigger band than Rainbow was. So it got him a bigger audience.
Let me ask you this. I'm going to throw this to both you and Jeremy. If Ronnie James Dio, after he left Rainbow, started his own band, Dio, at that time, do you think it would have been as successful as it was starting it after Sabbath?
I don't.
No, probably not. No. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, I think Dio benefited from being in Black Sabbath. I mean, whether you want to talk about, tours being disasters or not, let's be honest, they were still playing stadiums in the U.S., or around the world. They were playing arenas in the U.S. They were playing to a lot of people with him in the band. So that got him a certain amount of credibility, a certain amount of standing with fans. And then when he did go out and form the Dio band, sure, they opened up initially, but Holy Diver became such a big album that he was able to take off and take that band in different, in a different direction than Sabbath obviously went in. It still continued to be heavy, but it was something different. And I mean, what a monster album Holy Diver was. I mean, you think about that and think about how some of those songs could have been Sabbath songs. Obviously, they wouldn't have sounded the same because of Vivian Campbell versus Tony Iommi. And also think of the fact that Jimmy Bain had a huge hand in writing that album. He's equally as important as Geezer Butler is to the Sabbath songwriting process. Even though Geezer really wasn't around when they wrote the Heaven and Hell album, he was there for the recording of it, but also with the Ozzy era, he wrote most of the lyrics. Ozzy came up with melodies, and then Geezer put the lyrics to those melodies. So it's a different dynamic. Go ahead, Jeremy. I cut you off.
No, it's fine. I was just thinking it is all a matter of timing, because if Dio had formed the band earlier, he may not have got the same personnel, and that fit into what you were just saying about who's writing the songs. So, it could have been a different band. It could have had a different sound as well. I mean, I'm sure that being in Black Sabbath altered, somewhat what his solo stuff became as well. So, it's all a matter of timing.
Yeah, I find it interesting too that when Dio came back to Black Sabbath the first time after he'd been out, and they did Dehumanizer, and then he left again, that the two albums following this, two Dio albums following that, they kind of sounded a little bit like Dehumanizer, didn't they? They didn't sound like the original Dio, but then he kind of wafted back into the traditional area when he got Doug Aldrich to help him write some songs that were more Dio-ish.
But even before that, he did bring Craig Goldie back, and then went to Doug Aldrich, and then Craig Goldie again, if I'm not mistaken. I love those albums with Tracy G, because Dehumanizer is my second favorite album of all time. It's my favorite Sabbath album as a result, and it's just heavy, punishing. And
Yep.
Strange Highways through and through is like that. Angry Machines, I think, isn't as good as Strange Highways. I think Strange Highways is definitely a continuation of Dehumanizer. I think that Angry Machines has a few songs that are kind of mediocre. Then, a lot of the fan base didn't like Tracy G, didn't like that heavier direction. They wanted, that classic sound. They brought Craig Goldie back. And, Craig Goldie, I've listened to interviews. He sounds great. I saw him live with Dio on his last solo tour before he passed away. And I got to say, a very vanilla player, in my opinion. He doesn't suck, but he just doesn't have the fire that a Tracy G or a Vivian Campbell or a Doug Aldrich had. Killing the Dragon was just such a good album with Doug Aldrich. I mean, it felt like, all right, we're back to Holy Diver type material, with an exciting player. Whereas Craig Goldie, who is a disciple of Richie Blackmore, it's kind of like B-level Rainbow to me, and it's just not that exciting. Just my opinion. But I don't know. I again love certain musicians, certain writing partners that he's had, and there are others where, well, just not my thing. But
see, the difference.
What opinion do you guys have? I'm sorry, who did I cut off?
Oh, that's all right. I was going to say the difference between, your opinion about these guys, these guitarists that played in Dio, as opposed to the people who say, oh, I don't like that band anymore because so-and-so's not in it. The difference is you actually listen to the albums. And
right.
I know the Victor M. Ruiz method of doing this, you listen to it at least twice. So, right. I mean, you gave it a strong chance and before forming an opinion. It's not because, oh, so-and-so's not in the band anymore, I'm not going to like
it.
Yeah. So anyway, I think everybody should adopt that rule in their life. Don't crap on something till you listen to it. Hey, if you're going to say something bad about Skid Row, go watch them first. Go listen to their set.
Right.
And then if it's like, wow, that was really awful, okay, fine. But I'm going to tell you right now that the singer that they've got in there, I apologize for not knowing his name. Sorry, Johan. But he's
Eric Gronwall, I believe.
Eric Grunwald. Okay. But that guy can sing. And so I would not be surprised if they're like really, really good with him in the band. I saw him with the other guy, the ZZ, whatever his name is. I saw him with that guy. I saw him at M3 with him, and he was good. I mean, but there wasn't a lot of magic on stage. So
I think the issue there with him is that from day one, after the Tony Harnell misstep, I think they made him know that he was an employee. And, I feel sorry for the guy because it seems like he was a placeholder until they found what they were looking for. And obviously Eric was on Swedish Idol and, has been doing a bunch of covers over the years online and whatnot. And I have to say, I made a stupid remark about the hat he's wearing. I had no idea that he had just gone through chemotherapy about a year ago. So he's still in recovery. So that's me being an asshole. But man,
no, you didn't know. I mean, if you knew, then
I didn't know. And that's we're getting back to the whole people thinking that they're the center of the world for people not knowing what's going on, throughout their lives. But the guy has amazing pipes, and they've got Nick Raskolinix, who's one of the best producers out there. Please Iron Maiden work with him. Please Metallica work with him. Please Kiss work with him. Please, all three of those bands, either work with him or Andy Sneap. That's all I ask. Or one or the other will guide you right. And the thing is, you listen to that song, it sounds like something that could have come off of the first Skid Row album. Nick Raskolinix knows how to take a band and direct them in the direction of what got them to the dance. Look at what he did to Rush. he earned my respect with my all-time favorite Rush album, Snakes and Arrows, because he was able to get the band to go in a direction that I think a lot of people didn't expect them to go in, and not that, they weren't reinventing the wheel, but you need someone to guide you at times, to say, hey, do this, do that, with Accept, with Testament, with all these bands, with Megadeth. I think the album that he did with Megadeth is the best thing that they've released in the last 25 years. Why? Because he gets bands and he tells them, okay, listen to the music that got you excited when you first started playing music. Listen to what you were into when you recorded this landmark album, and come back to me with something. And he gives them homework. They listen to stuff. He tells them to listen to certain albums of theirs. And I can't tell you how many of their albums, of bands that he's worked with, where it just gets the best results out of them. Or I said Testament. Testament worked with Andy Sneak, but it's the same type of methodology. It's the same exact thing. So, and I wanted Sneak to work with Priest for the longest time, and Firepower is one of my favorite Priest albums. Thanks to, I know a lot of people say that Tom Allom had a lot to do with that, but I think Sneak had a ton to do with that as well. So I don't think he would be in the band playing now if it wasn't for his contribution to that album. So, any final words you guys want to say before we wrap things up here and move on over to the Signals from Mars live stream? I can't even say the name of my show tonight. We'll be featuring an interview with Johnny, the bass player of the Canadian band out of British Columbia, called Mall, an album that I came across a few months back. I received the promo and actually picked up the album on vinyl. I think it was in January when it was Bandcamp Friday then. And it's honestly been the last Bandcamp Friday purchase because, man, is shipping a lot. I wanted to, in the worst way, get the new Stabbing Westward album, which I just really enjoy and have been playing a lot. And with shipping, it came out to almost $80. I said, I can't. I'm not paying that. I'm not paying the same amount for the album and shipping. I'm not paying half. The Mall album was, I believe the shipping was $12, and the vinyl was like $24. No, it was more than that. It was like $28. And I was like, okay, more than what I want to spend, but I'm not getting killed on the shipping. And I looked at a ton of different things today. 25, 26, 28, 30, $40 to ship. I'm like, I'm not paying $40 fucking dollars in shipping. I'm sorry. I want to support bands, but they make it so that I'm economically priced out of being able to pick the stuff up. So I will listen to it on the streaming services for now until I end up in the States one day and I can bring back a ton of vinyl. So
yeah. I don't blame you. No, don't blame you, Victor. I mean, the shipping is a nightmare. I actually went into a local record store during the week and picked up a couple of albums. I say it's local. I went into Chester, which is about 10, 15 miles away, and went, actually bought something from the store, and it's great. I love doing that. I went in my denim and leather and went into the local record store.
Nice.
Sounds like a song to me.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, I can't do that. So I actually received Impera by Ghost today from Amazon. Because unless I order stuff online, there's no record shop that does that. We have record store day here. It's nothing compared to what it's like in the U.S. or in the U.K. And when I asked about, are you guys going to be covering it or having any of these hard rock or metal albums there? And they're like, no, we don't sell that stuff. I'm like, oh, but you'll sell 60s pop and all this other stuff. Like, yeah, okay, sorry, not interested. Brad, any parting words?
Yeah, I also bought the Mall CD. I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet because I'm buried in music. But from what I've heard from what you've posted, I've really enjoyed it. So I'm looking forward to it. And I know that since you've got the bass player, and bass players for the most part are pretty decent people, should be a great interview. So,
it was Patron's
the bass
pick
player in
that
the conversation.
Well, if it's Patron's pick, maybe that's why I bought it, is because it was Patron's pick.
There you go.
There you go.
Because
so a guitarist and a drummer recommended it so that the bass player picked it up. You see that?
There you go. Well, all I can say is Jeremy, anytime he says I should listen to something, I listen to him. He is the E.F. Hutton of music.
You took the words out of my mouth. That was exactly what I was going to say. Like E.F. Hutton, when Jeremy speaks, people listen. I will say this. I don't know if you heard the podcast, which was released earlier today. I recorded the first half at 20 to 2 in the morning last night, and I thought, I'll just wing it and just add Jeremy's Patron's pick. And as I was about to click the record button, I'm like, I can't do that. I need to react to Jeremy's Patron's pick. No, I can't do this. And then also I'm like, well, how long do I record for? How much time is Jeremy giving me to slot in here? So I waited and I recorded that bit this morning.
Nice.
Brilliant.
Patron's pick is always a great segment to listen to. And I always love when Jeremy picks something, I'm going to start to record myself as I'm listening back to it, so that maybe that'll be another Patreon exclusive. So when you see me listening to it, where I go, oh wow, we picked that, or if I throw out some type of a profanity out there, which I use in loving terms. I'm not saying it as an insult. You son of a gun! I can't believe you picked that.
It's going to be Lynyrd Skynyrd next week, Brad.
Oh, I can't wait. hopefully I won't be dead.
Yes, we hope so.
If I am, it's your fault, Jeremy.
No, please. Let's not say that.
Final thing that I want to ask, Jeremy, where do my stupid British accents rank amongst actually sounding like legitimate accents?
I was gonna mention that at the beginning. You're cracking me up, and I want you to continue it as long as possible because it's great. They're nothing like. Well, I say nothing like them. Some of them are okay. But some of them are really, really poor. and those are the ones I like the best.
There
you know what?
Go.
I want to hear Johan do a British accent.
Yeah. No, we have to ask Jeremy to do an American accent one of these days.
Ooh.
Oh no! It depends whether you want New York or other parts. New York's a different type, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, I'm a New Yorker, man. I'm a New Yorker.
All righty.
When you start saying coffee and chocolate, we'll talk.
Coffee and chocolate, man.
There you go. All right, guys. Well, Signals from Mars coming up in less than 5 minutes. Johnny from All. Go to MarsAttacksRadio.com.
I want to hear a Canadian accent out of Johnny, okay?
Yeah, let's see if he gives us some type
Let's see if he says it's about time, eh?
Yeah, there you go. All right, guys. We will see you next time right here on Fireside with Fireside Friday.